From Little Italy's mean streets to Hollywood, Judge Michael Corriero's journey has taken him from the neighborhood to the bench. After rising to become a New York State Supreme Court justice, he decided it was time to go from behind the gavel to in front of the camera. Handpicked by Judge Judy Scheinlin for her television show Hot Bench, he was ready for his close-up. It's a rags to riches story with a verdict of success as we ride with Michael Corriero, a judge, a jury, and a tastemaker.
Hi.
Judge Michael Corriero, welcome.
Thank you, Lisa.
Where are we going today?
Forlini's in Little Italy.
And what are we having?
Lasagna, a dish that we Italians celebrate with, and today's a celebratory day.
Let's go.
That's great.
Forlini's is a neighborhood restaurant in a neighborhood where you grew up. What comes to mind returning to your roots?
For Italian-American families growing up in Little Italy in the 50s, it was a place where you went to celebrate events. The most memorable celebration is when I was sworn in as a judge in 1980 by Ed Koch. Little Italy has changed so dramatically in the last few years. It's really been swallowed up by Chinatown.
Did growing up across from the Tombs, the Manhattan
Yes.
Detention Complex, did that pave the way for your professional life?
Well, I'm not sure it paved the way, but I feel like I haven't gone very far in my life. You know, I went across the street, but the courthouse and the Tombs did play a role in my life because as children, we used the courthouse and the Tombs as a playground, very often trying to sneak into the building as deeply as we could without getting caught by the court officers and thrown out. We used to play stickball against the walls of the building, handball, and so it really was a place that I was very familiar with. As a matter of fact, if you had seen me at 14 or 15 years of age standing on the corner of Mulberry and Hester Street, you said, no, this kid would never grow up to be a judge. He's going to be before a judge.
Were you a little troublemaker?
Well, I wasn't necessarily a troublemaker, but I was mischievous, and I was curious, and I was adventurous, and I was very fortunate. The Irish Christian Brothers insisted also that I go to a parochial college. How did I become a judge is kind of like the $64,000 question.
Right.
I went to St. John's University Law School. That had 1 foot in Little Italy and 1 foot in college, and I came out second in the class. They gave me a full scholarship to the law school.
Really?
I was invited to be part of the law review, which is a special honor, and that changed my entire life. And it just transformed my whole attitude about what I could do. I came to the law school, and then I was offered a position as an assistant district attorney. And now, for the first time, all of the things that happened to me as a young person collided. The worst thing you could be in Little Italy was an informant.
Not good.
There was a repulsion for people who were disloyal.
A rat.
And young kids understand that today, you know. So I said, I don't know if I could be a prosecutor. So I didn't take the job. I spent a year away from the neighborhood and everything, so I felt different about it, and ultimately distilled what it meant to be a prosecutor. What is the role of a prosecutor? You're really protecting people from bullies, people who steal or rob or assault people. They're really bullies. And I felt, you know, I could do this. And I spent 4 years as a prosecutor in Manhattan. I tried many murder cases in front of the best judges in the city. And in 1980, Ed Koch had become mayor, and he opened up the whole process to become a judge.
What do you think's played more of a role in your career, street smarts or book smarts?
Both. Both. I really think that I've had 2 educations.
Once you put on that robe, how were you affected as a person?
Very good question. I think I tried to aspire to what I thought a judge should be and how a judge should act. But one of the things that was very important to me in terms of my entire legal career is how the law dealt with young people. So I like to think that both educations have enabled me to be more just, be more fair, be more open and understanding to the problems facing young people.
Well, as a judge on TV's Hot Bench,
what
inspires you? What the cases that you
Yes,
hear?
when I left the DA's office, I was, and I went to private practice, I was assigned to represent a 12-year-old boy who was accused of murder in the family court. and I did an investigation, and I felt that he was taking the weight for an older boy who faced more significant imprisonment because of his age. I persuaded him to take a lie detector test. And I told him that I will get the assurance of the prosecutor that they won't ask you who did it, but whether or not you did it. And if you're honest and you pass, then we'll take the next step. He agreed, and then I had to persuade this prosecutor to give my client a lie detector test. My client passed. That young prosecutor was Judy Scheinlein. Judge Judy. She and I worked together, and we really prevented a miscarriage of justice. She never forgot that. I've never forgotten that. She has no tolerance for bullies. And she's very outspoken about it, and very vibrant.
Full of life.
Full of life about it. So, I said to her, at this point in my life, to come to Hollywood, I said, this is absolutely incredible. And whatever notoriety I can get from this exposure, I'm trying not to forget what really inspires me, and that is working with young people and trying to improve their lives.
And you've dedicated a great majority of your life to that.
I try never to forget where I came from. And that's why today is very important for me, because we're going back to a place that really symbolizes where I came from.
As a judge, is it hard not to take the work home with you?
You learn to compartmentalize. I think you have to. You do your best before you make a decision, and then after you make a decision, you have to let it go, because otherwise you're incapacitating yourself for the next decision.
Now, as a TV judge, I learned that you were on shooting an episode once, and you went to grab a pen on the desk, and it didn't move. It was glued. It was a prop. Have you learned a little since then?
I'm learning. Also, we have a little thing in our ears.
The little
which
IP. Okay,
probably
good.
would have been beneficial here, because it would say, all right, speed it up. High energy.
Speed it up.
Has your opinion on TV court shows changed since going on Hot Bench? You paused.
And I really watch them. Well, because there's only one Judge Judy. And I remember speaking to Judge Judy, I said, Judy, I'm not you. So as a matter of fact, my court attorney told me to remind you that I'm the judge who got down off the bench to comfort a distraught mother whose kid I was putting into jail. I said, this is me. If you want me, then I'm more than happy to give you my best. And some of the court shows, there's a kind of tension that perhaps is more entertaining than otherwise. What's unique about Hot Bench is that the audience gets to see how three judges think and how we arrive at a decision. It's not that we're making a decision from the bench. The cameras follow us into chambers and hear our thinking, see how we reason, what rules we apply, what assessments of credibility we're making and why we're making it, and I think the audience appreciates that.
And what does Jake think of his TV daddy?
Jake, he's really a blessing for me. As a matter of fact,
And this is your dog.
This is my dog,
Yes.
Jake. I have two grown daughters. I'm not downplaying them, but they're grown and they have children. And Jake has been with me for about 11 years. He was 2 years old when we got him from the ASPCA. He has been such a boon to my wife and I, Mary Ellen and I. I don't think we've had a real fight in over 11 years, Mary Ellen. And I think it's Jake's.
That's the secret.
Jake's role, keeping us civil.
Mikey, how are you?
Good to see you. How's everything going?
Good, Joe. Good to see you.
Good to see you. This is Lisa Mateo.
Lisa, how are you? Nice to meet you.
You
How's everything
too.
going? Listen,
Excellent.
Chef Andre's ready for you for the lasagna. Mikey, come on. We go talk all
got it.
times. Come on.
Let's go.
Come on.
You can enjoy lasagna at any Italian restaurant, but for Michael Corriero, it has to be extra special. We're talking about a secret ingredient. What exactly is that ingredient? You're about to find out here at Forlini's, thanks to Chef Andreas. Chef, walk us through what we need to make this at home.
We have to make first meat sauce, which is sauteed with a little garlic and onions. Then we put the ground beef inside, sauteed, plum tomatoes.
Plum tomatoes.
Cook it for 1 hour and a half. Then it's ready to go.
What else do we have?
Ricotta, homemade Swiss sausage, mustard cheese, grated cheese, and we have eggs. And we have lasagna pasta.
Now you mentioned Munster cheese.
Mustard cheese. This is similar to mozzarella, same taste.
And why did you decide to use it?
This has been a tradition for 70 years. We never changed the recipe.
You can't break tradition.
Yeah. To finish the sauce, we add ricotta, Swiss sausage, Parmesan cheese, and egg. See, the egg keeps it together, doesn't keep it loose.
And it'll help bind it.
Yeah. Put a little oil so it doesn't stick.
Little oil.
Layer of the lasagna.
So how much sauce do we put?
Do it enough to cover the bottom.
This is the good stuff.
Another layer of mustard cheese.
Perfect.
And once we're done, cover up with aluminum, and we put it for 100 degrees for 35 minutes.
I think I might even have to stick my fork into Michael's dish.
You did a great job. I hope you enjoyed it.
I will, thank you.
Yeah.
Did you know yours was going to be this big?
Actually, I did, because one of the things I know about Joe, that they are generous in so many ways, but most importantly with respect to their food. I'm
Now
going
you
to
gotta
eat
eat it.
as much of it
No,
as
eat
I
all
can.
of it.
I've got to eat it.
Eat all of it.
He's making me an offer I can't refuse,
Refuse,
so
that's
I
it,
have
so.
to.
Now what
I
happens if he
definitely have
doesn't
to
finish
eat.
everything?
He doesn't. He can't
Oh,
leave.
He can't leave. You can't
Now,
leave.
now you
expelled
can't
from
leave.
the neighborhood.
Lock the door. He knows from the neighborhood.
And there's something about lasagna. You know, whenever we were going to have a celebration
It's
and
a
everything,
Sunday, yeah.
they would make
Lasagna.
lasagna. It was
Sunday,
a
yeah.
special day.
Sunday special,
So it was
yeah.
a special day.
Well, I hear your wife Mariella makes a pretty good lasagna
Mariella
too.
makes a very good lasagna.
But she does better than me, though.
Well, absolutely.
You have to
I
say
have to
that.
say
Yeah, I
that
know.
now, right?
You have to say
but,
that.
but it is. It's very good. She infuses the Irish and Czech aspects of making lasagna into it. But
nice.
nevertheless,
Well, look
it's
at
very
that.
good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Now your friendship goes beyond the restaurant. You know each other from back in the neighborhood.
He was from White Street in
Okay.
Baxter, and I was born on Baxter Street.
And my next door neighbor, as a child friend, was a fellow by the name of Joe Bruno.
I know Joe
You know
Bruno,
Joe
yeah,
Bruno.
he's from Florida, yeah.
And when I was a kid, we shared a fire escape. So we lived on the 5th floor, and often I was like a latchkey kid. I would come home and I'd forget my keys. So I would knock on the door. Joe would be in the house. I said, Joe, don't tell your mother. Let me on the fire
Forget about
escape.
it,
And
yeah.
I would go on the fire escape, open the window, and sneak back into my house. And he never forgets it.
This has been on Baxter since 1940.
43.
43.
You know, my grandfather Joe, which Mike knew, and then we knew my father and my uncles,
Yes.
Frank, Freddie, and Hugo.
As third generation owner, do you feel any pressure to live up to a certain standard?
We always kept high standards here. Always kept high standards. The guys are in the kitchen from the 1980s, so
Yes.
everybody's been around a long time.
You know, my grandmother would make, and she never had anything written down. It was all missed.
It's all by hand.
By
hand,
Everything by hand, yeah.
smell, and taste. And the food conjures up those memories, at least those of us who grew up in the
Yeah.
neighborhood. When we eat here, it's not only eating lasagna, it's enjoying the company, enjoying the
company, yeah,
feeling
yeah.
that this place brings
I always
back
say,
to
yeah.
us.
And now you're bi-coastal, so you have a different food
Bi-coastal.
experience.
Yes, it's different. Let's put it this way. There is no Forlini's West. Italian-American families would come here to eat. Joe had to be the best. You know, my grandmother would not come and eat here if he didn't make something that she admired.
How's the panzerotti? Good?
It's delicious.
Delicious.
Fantastic. Now, what is your dish?
Okay, I got
Little
chicken,
little sausage.
sausage, and a little vinegar peppers in it. That's in a little white wine sauce, you know, some garlic.
You're here all the time, every day. What do you normally eat? Do you have something different all the time, or you do go stick with the same?
Yeah. For lunch, I usually stick with a little salad, and dinner I have something like this.
You know, this is the unofficial commissary to the courthouse. All the judges and all the lawyers eat here regularly and routinely.
And you seem like a very hands-on guy.
Well, somebody cook and somebody eats. I'm in the eating section.
Joe thinks of me as a neighborhood kid.
He's a neighborhood.
I'm a
Yeah, but he's a
kid.
neighborhood
I am a
kid.
neighborhood
You're a
kid.
neighborhood kid.
And I tell people that you're never a prophet in your own home. I'm just a neighborhood kid, and that's the way I feel. And when I come in here, he reminds
You
me
did
of
well
that.
for you. God bless you. You did well.
And I always
So-
felt
so-
that the people in the neighborhood were rooting for me,
Yeah.
no matter what I did.
Yeah.
And that's always made a difference.
Mike,
Always
you did a good job.
Ah,
Salute.
Cent'anni,
Cent'anni, huh?
Done.
Good job.
Joe, when did you first start working here, and where were you in the
Oh, 13
business?
13 years old, my father brought me down here as an assistant dishwasher in the summertime. They brought
Oh,
me
it's hot
down.
back there in the
Oh,
summer.
first day on the job, I got dressed. I had the white pants on, the white
Oh,
shirt,
yeah,
the
great.
apron on. I go in the kitchen, and back then I had a 3-pot sink: the wash, the rinse, and the sanitizer. So the guy was there. His name was Bernardo Mosconi, whose son owns Villa Mosconi. So he says, "No toccare niente. Don't touch anything. I'll be right back." I'm looking at these dishes in the sink, you know. So I put my hands in, burned both my arms.
Oh my God!
Yeah. I look like Red Lobster. So,
Lesson learned.
so he came back, he had these big gloves on. He says, "What do you do?" So he put burn cream on me, everything else. They put all the burn cream on me,
Yes.
everything else like that. I went back to wash dishes. I went home. My mother yelled at my father. He said, "How could you make a 13-year-old kid burn yourself?" You know what I'm saying? My father gave me 1 day off.
One day
One day.
off.
One day. He says, you got 1 day off. Yeah.
Now, your father worked at the docks, your mother was a seamstress. What life lessons have you learned from them?
We believe that all was possible through education and through the support of family and friends. It is true. That all is true education this idea of the American dream is real. And the unfortunate thing is sometimes we have to make sure that other people continue to believe in that dream. And I tell the young lawyers that come before me, you better put your foot in the door to the American dream so it isn't more narrow for the kids coming after you. That's what your role is as a lawyer.
That's it.
Right?
100% right. 100% right.
Because he would never believe that I would become a judge. No, forget about it.
You do?
I know, I said you're always going to make good out of the
parking meters
I
that he
said you're always going to
allegedly
make good out of the
break into.
neighborhood. You're always gonna get
That's
out
what
of
it was.
the- You don't want to make those parking meters.
Well, did you learn similar life lessons, John?
Sure, I learned family first,
Yeah.
faith second,
Yes.
food third, and fun fourth. You got to enjoy. We enjoy life. We're Italian.
That's
We
it.
enjoy.
Wonderful.
We enjoy everything. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you finish it.
And we were eating today. Joe,
Yeah.
Let's find out Michael's decision on this. Would you bring Judge Judy here?
Yes, of course. I would bring her here, and I'm sure she'd love the food if she hasn't already been here.
She's been here before.
She knows good food. She knows
Good
quality.
person too.
To family, food, fun, and to faith.
God bless. Cent'anni.
Thank you for joining us on Celebrity Tastemakers, where you always have a reservation for food and fame. For complete recipes and additional clips not seen on this show, log on to celebritytastemakers.com. Until we eat again, I'm Lisa Mateo.
Patricia says it best. There's nobody like the three of us on television, and I think she's correct.
The people that we meet have incredible stories. They go through incredible things, but at the end of the day, we're applying the law.
28 years as a judge, I had to make decisions essentially on my own, and now I'm engaged in a process where I'm sharing the decision making, and it's a very comfortable place to be for me.
During the time that each of you was on the bench, did you ever sit by designation on a 3-judge panel?
No.
No.
Because trial judges do that.
No,
Not
I
in
think Patricia and I were always noted for being fiercely independent.
Yes.
Fiercely is a good word.
Right. and I think that this has been a kind of unique experience for us.
And on occasion, you persuade me to go your way.
Some occasions I don't. That's why I love it.
We did it, baby!